It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Man, I got a special guest in that intersection between that digital and physical world. None other than Gary Thomas. And Gary Thomas is the CEO of a company called Leap Managed IT. They're located in Indiana. I've known Gary for about 5 years. You know, he's one of those copier businesses 5 years ago that said, man, we have got to diversify our deliverable. We got to get into IT services. He came down to Nashville and met with me in Milton when I was with ImageQuest. Great guy. Him and his brother have a great organization there in Indiana. Gary, how are you doing?
Well, Ray, it's good to be with you. Doing well. I think this last couple of weeks for all of us has been kind of fun. I don't know who isn't excited to go to work every day, whether that's in your house or like me, right? I'm in the west wing of our building, and there's only one other person here. Just as UPS rolls in and all that fun stuff. But I'm having a good time, and I hope everybody else is. It's not perfect, but it's what we do with it.
Well, you're right. It is our attitudes, how we go through this, and we got to have the right attitudes, and we got to, especially with the leader of the organization, communicating with your people. But Gary, the reason I want to talk to you today is you're one of those dealers, and you're not a great big dealer. You're a good-sized dealer. You got a great little business there in Indiana, and you decided 5 years ago, man, I got to diversify. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that process because I know that those are tough to do. And we talked, about a month ago, and you told me that your IT business stands on its own. It's profitable. That's fantastic. So give us a little bit of that history, how you got to be where you're at today.
Yeah, so we'll go way back. We'll go way back, Ray. So our grandfather started the business in 1930. Adding machines, typewriters, and there's probably some others in this world that have that same kind of story. So we're third generation. Michael, my brother, myself, we haven't screwed it up yet, and we continue to pivot and change the organization. Hopefully, before we need to.
Yeah.
And what we've learned this last couple of weeks is thank God that we did. Mm-hmm. We managed IT. We were outsourcing our help desk at some particular point in time. We learned that wasn't necessarily a good strategy for us. Even though it was cheaper, it didn't make any sense. So we brought that in-house, and we want to control the whole client experience because that's exactly what it is. If we're not their number one resource, in times like this or just day to day, then it's not going to work. So they want fully us, and that's what we try to deliver to them.
Well, I'm thinking you told me your grandfather started in 1930, so obviously that wasn't the greatest economic times. No, we're in the massive depression. So what goes around comes around. It's your test, Gary. It's your test. He's looking down on you saying, man, I hope you're doing the right things, Gary. Wow.
Yeah, I hope so. My dad actually came in today, even though, we're not supposed to be traveling. Him and Mom came in. They picked up breakfast someplace and came and ate it in the conference room just to get out a little bit. But, we hope that Grandpa looks down on us and goes, you guys are doing all right. I don't understand all this server and this technical world, but he understood that you do business with people, and that's what we continue to highlight is even though we're face to face in different ways right now, and we are doing business with humans, and our job is to figure out the technology is always going to change and adapt. It's our job to figure out what those tool sets are for moving forward.
Sure. How many of your users are working out of home? I had Milton on the other day, and he told me he had a bunch of end users out there that were successfully migrated home.
A very similar number to what Milton has as a percentage, and every day it seems to trickle up a little bit. I was looking at the inbound calls today that we've had so far, and I know this afternoon with Ray, but if I look at it's 11:11 right now in the morning when we're talking, we've had about 32 calls inbound to the help desk team. They've closed approximately 40. There's always going to be some hangovers from the day before or working on other tickets. But so we're still seeing an influx of calls, and we anticipate that to continue when people are getting to now their new normal for the next few weeks working from home.
Well, talk to me a little bit about the copier business. Me and Milton, when I was with Milton, he elected to go ahead and, exit out of the print deliverable altogether, sold it off to another dealer in the marketplace. You kept your print deliverable. We were talking at one time, you said you loved my A4 Revolution message, and you guys are implemented some of that. But talk to me a little bit about that. How's that working?
It's going well. I think we transitioned to a lot of A4 machines. Our per unit sales, going into this time period, before this, were up. So if we look at 2019 numbers, we were up in A4 over A3 products. So the manufacturer noticed that, hey, you're selling more gear. you're maybe not selling the big metal that we wanted us to, but it wasn't about the manufacturer. It's about our clients and what we're
Absolutely.
delivering to them. I think is continuing to be the big story.
Mhm.
And right now in this next 2 week, and I say 2 week period because that's what we're all supposedly locked down here in Indiana, where we're considered an essential business. But we're really redefining again what we're doing in A4
Mhm.
and selling different service offerings around those devices and making sure that the technology that our client wants and needs, they have it, and really just bridging the digital gap between how they're moving paper around, whether it's digital or otherwise.
Are you able to take, I've talked a lot about this, and, me and Milton were doing it 5 years ago, but are you willing to take some of the revenue from the A3 old contract, sell them in A4, and then take that revenue and offer them different deliverables? Or as I say,
Yeah,
sell them in A4 and find money for more? I mean, how is that? How are you doing that? How does that look for you?
yeah. I think it's even other things outside of the copy print business, right? To say, if we're working with our clients' budgets, it
Mm-hmm.
could even be a server project where they have on-prem servers to whatever it is they're spending money in their businesses. It's our job then to help them with that pile of money or that investment that they have to say, hey, this makes more sense that you need to be doing some different things with Office 365. Get away with the get rid of the on-prem Exchange servers, for example, is a very rudimentary discussion. But there's money for all these organizations to save and reposition and reinvest in themselves in new technologies. I don't care if it's a copier or a printer or a server or
Absolutely.
some other piece of system that they aren't doing well with as a return on their investment. Obviously, when you see a printed page, you see inefficiency. So that's something to say, how do we right size that? And yeah, maybe then we can deflect some money to these other projects. So yeah, you're 100% dead on.
Well, we used to talk about workflow, and I always say, the biggest interruption to workflow is to have to stop and print it or stop and scan it because it's already in
Yeah,
the system. So that's not really helping them. We need to figure out how to help them migrate these documents in that digital world. And
yeah,
obviously, people are going to print, but they're surely. I think there's going to be a whole lot of questions asked about the A3 concept when people go back to the office. What the hell am I buying this for, kind of thing. So
right.
those conversations will definitely be had. But Gary, is there anything you want to tell the audience out there? Give them some advice. What can they be doing right now? What are you doing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. Well, I do appreciate you. I think a lot of the learnings that we've all had from your videos have brought together little bitty nuggets that we can all take away. But the big thing I guess I have is it's our turn to really pour gasoline on the fire that we have to be investing in ourselves, and we have to be looking down the road to say, hey, I might not be in a position to bring in help desk internally, but I'm partnering with somebody else. That's still a decent strategy to get started in this, but be willing to invest back in yourselves. Right now, it's maybe not, your sales team. You got to figure out a way to invest in your sales team to still be able to
Sure.
be valuable to your clients. And right now, it might just be a personal phone call to say, what can we be doing? How is everything going for you, even if you don't service them on the IT side, for
Yep.
example? There's a lot of opportunity right now. I'm super excited about it, and I'm just glad we diversified when we did. Because I will say this, every manufacturer right now, and probably even large dealer with tons of inventory of boxes sitting in their warehouse, they're freaked out right now, and they should be. They
Well, we
absolutely
have not a whole lot of liquidity inside the inventory channel, and everybody knows that. I mean, from a manufacturers all the way down to the dealers. So,
Yeah, and you did mention a really good point. I mean, we operate our IT business, and we look at it separate from our copy or print business. That it does need to stand on its own. So if you break those metrics down to say, hey, we want to get to 55, 50%, whatever the number is on the copy print side, which we hit those numbers, if not at a higher level. We need to be approaching those numbers on the IT side. And I will say this: the one thing we all need to look at in all of our businesses is time.
Yep.
Right. The time of our employees costs us money. It's like putting a big pile of money in the floor and setting it on fire every minute. So we have to be able to capture those revenue dollars and know where they're going,
Yep.
and make decisions based upon what's coming in and what projects we have.
No, that's a great point. I had Wes on talking about the yesterday. And I see, in the
Yeah, it was
IT
great.
sector, I'll tell you this because I learned this from Milton when I was with him, is that, the platform most use, ConnectWise, they have a saying that says if it didn't happen, if it's not in ConnectWise, it didn't happen. And everything's accountable for. all the time is
Absolutely.
accountable for it. And in the imaging channel, we don't necessarily account for all of our time like we should. So,
Yeah.
but Gary, I'm going to end this like I always do. I wish you the best of luck there in Indiana. Let's catch up again soon. My friends, remember this: status quo is the killer of all. It'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo.